All right, welcome to Forex.Today. The YouTube community of more than 20,000 foreign exchange traders. We gather here today to conduct technical and fundamental analysis with the overriding goal of planning our trades in advance. Why would we want to do that? To lower our risk and increase our consistency. We only want to trade when we have the high ground. Let me remind you that even if you do all that, trading is still risky and not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term. Never risk money cannot afford to lose. Oh, look at that. Just that beautiful coffee. Oh, beauty. Love how that bone marrow froths at the top. Anyways, good morning, everybody. My name is Wayne. I will be your guide this morning on this thing we call Forex. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, trader psychology. I'm sure we'll touch on all of that. What I plan on doing today is looking at the stock market, the bond market, the metals market, the energies market, and the dollar and the yen, and maybe some cross pairs. So that's a lot. If you want me to cover something specific, don't be afraid to ask. If I don't see it, if I don't see your question, because it is a chat with many people in it, then ask again. Maybe subscribe, and if I don't get it to your question today, maybe ask tomorrow, or Friday, or Monday, or Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'll get to it. Keep asking. Cool. So let me know how I can help, and I will do my best. If you look in the description below the video, there are 3 links I'd like you to click. One of them is going to Amazon.com and leaving a review on my book. But if you haven't bought the book, maybe consider buying it. I don't care if you buy it new, used. I don't care. Okay? Read the book. Cool. And then leave a review. Great. Awesome. Next one, FX Bootcamp. There are 3 levels of membership. $88 gets you a year of video training, 88 hours of training, trader psychology, technical analysis, technical analysis, technical analysis. Then you go into things like monetary policy. Then you go into things like macroeconomics. There's an oil trading course. There's day trading, swing trading, carry trading. It's all in there. The second level is, excuse me, joining the swing trading group. Cool. That means Tuesdays and Thursdays you have access. Tuesdays and Thursdays you have access to live training. One of them's about an hour, hour and a half, focused on you. The other one is very often group work, and that can be 3 or 4 hours. Great. The next level is day trading. We meet, day trading. We meet at 4 o'clock, which is the New York equity close, and we plan the next day's trades. The day trading group plans tomorrow's trades. You see? Today we plan tomorrow. That's the secret sauce, my friend. Now, is it rocket science? No. I think a lot of the benefit of being in the day trading group is it ensures you're doing the work every day. It's kind of like having a personal trainer at the gym. On days when you're tired and lazy and busy or sad or blue or whatever it is, and you're like, I don't want to go to the gym. Hey, well, you're paying somebody money, so you might as well just show up and do it and get it done. The benefits of that are huge. So anyways, awesome blossom. Lastly, I want you to click the link or visit tradersway.com. Open up an account. They're a broker. You need a broker. I recommend them. Use them. They should be your broker. I believe they're trustworthy and ethical. That's 99.9% of everything you want. Yeah, many other brokers, right? There are many other brokers out there. Yeah, and they all will execute your trade. Some slow, some fast. Some promise low fees, but some might actually give you the low fees, but some will promise you low fees and then pick your pocket somewhere else and all that kind of stuff. And some will pay you swaps and some will charge you swaps. But ultimately, you want someone you trust. I trust tradersway.com. Go check them out. Maybe they can earn your loyalty and respect and be a service provider to your successful Forex trading business. Go do it. Yeah, Paolo, they are recorded. I have Boot Camp open here. Performance, good or bad, not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. I got an email about a half an hour ago. Freeport has been approved by the government to green light, man, start pumping liquefied natural gas. So the interesting part of that is nat gas is probably going to move. Now, on Trader's Way, you can't actually trade. So you can watch it. Oops. But you can see there's a little bit of move going on. So anywho, luftletulium. And here's swing trading from Thursday, so almost a week ago. Okay, so they are recorded, Paolo. And it used to take me about an hour and a half worth of work. On your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble. Now it gets up there much quicker.
You cannot afford to lose. And congratulations, you made it to Thursday, which means we are now here to kind of plan all of next week. And we're right in the middle of the month, and that can bring some new challenges. Many of us have already hit our targets. And now what do we do?
Okay, so anyways, yeah, it's all there, man. Yep. And notice this. Yeah. You're like, man, Wayne babbles. What a babble, knucklehead, bobblehead. Okay.
Now, what we were talking about back in July, as they say in Georgia, that there was a potential for an arbitrage trade where suddenly all this abundance of nat gas, and that's why prices are really down here. Americans have not been able to move nat gas offshore. Therefore, it's been building up in storage. Therefore, prices fall. But if now you can suddenly sell it to the Europeans for 400% more than this, well, that sounds like a good deal. So all of a sudden, American nat gas could rise, and European nat gas could fall. But so we don't know. In the world, most of the world doesn't.
Ha 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 ha! Oh man, I love what we do. Anywho, yeah, I only stare at the markets like 18 hours a day and I only talk about the markets, 5 hours a day. Cool, man. Love it. That makes me excited. We just did that meeting yesterday and I'm all excited. All right. So, have you had an opportunity to, post your opinion on the poll? Post your opinion on the poll. Let me know. I'll give you a few more minutes. Later today, I'm going to be doing some research and some work. I'm looking forward to it. I have a cigar that has, its tobacco is, the youngest tobacco in the blend is 13 years old. So I'm guessing it's about 15, 16, 17-year-old cigar. Lovely to you, mum. Amazing, right? All right, fill out the poll. You're like, that's amazing. I have a box of cigars I bought for a friend. He's, right, for his hedge fund. He's going to get his partners together. And I thought, I'll bring a gift. And the cigars are from 1997. Unopened box. Still in the cellophane. Those are going to be something else, huh? Oh, Johnny, what went long on the LNG? Right on, man. Kishore's long too. Yeah. Kishore's got the carry though, which is kind of interesting too. All right, so half our risk off. Okay. Some are risk on. 13% neither. And 6% I don't know. So I imagine the 6% that said I don't know are not trading today. Perfectly acceptable, perfectly fine. Okay, what do we see here? These are the longer term trends. And it's not down, but it seems like maybe that's slowing, huh? This is your China reopening play. This pound could be interesting because remember, I think they don't know what to do. And but nonetheless, what we could argue is, there's maybe a trend in there somewhere. Okay, New Zealand not doing well. These are longer term, right? Okay, quite strong. Was very, very strong. Now is giving back, right? So look at that. And then, of course, the exact opposite looks like that. So dollar may be gaining strength. Yen may be weakening. Now, I'm positioning myself, if you will, even if it's just psychologically, I'm positioning myself for this to go back up. So I might need to start playing that this week, or next week, I should say. This week or next week. If the United States economy is going down in a blaze of glory, that's not going to help Kitty CAD. But notice that Kitty CAD fell to obvious support and it's held. Cool. Right on. Cool, huh? Okay. What about today? Today is going to be the date to come back to you. Okay. Dollar was strong and then gave it all back. Yen was weak, but now getting strong. See, that might be my entry. Now, I believe I'm about 5 weeks early. So I'm not that eager to chase it, but I might take a shot anyways. Knowing that there's probably, I'd say, a 90% chance I'd break even. Yeah, but I might do it if I can get my stop to break even, right? Like, I guess I kind of misspoke. There's a 90% chance it won't work, but if I can jam my stop at break even, then I can try. Okay? Like, it's one of these things. If you're open, take a shot. But what if it doesn't go in, right? Your coach would say, look, if you're open, take a shot. Okay? If you're at half court, half ice, whatever, mid ice, no. But if you got a legit shot, take it. Can't score if I don't shoot. See, this is a direct argument against those that say you need a high winning percentage to be successful. Oh, 90% of my shots are winner. No, that's not the right thing to look at. Okay? Anywho. So what? Aussie's weak today. Pound is strong. Remember, I think this pound stuff is on iffy news, but whatever. Remember, I don't like trading news. I like trading fundamentals. And there's a big difference. Which reminds me, I think I'm going to need to go to QuantBox today. Do I have it open? Don't think so. It's kind of funny, like you pop open your charts. What does Wayne do? Well, premium cigars, liquid natural gas press releases, Frank Bueller watches. You're like, the psyche, huh? So I'll get this out of the way, and I'll move. I got to move this over. Hang on. Does anyone like Frank Mueller watches? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? 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 Like Mueller? Anybody? No? All right, loading. Loaded like a freight train. Lying like a river game. Feeling like a space brain one more time tonight. Okay, this is what I want to point out today. The yield on the 10-year T-note has risen. Oops, risen and risen. We're at 3.95 again, projected to go all the way up to 4 1/4. What's going on there? Well, it seems that the market believes interest rates are going to go up in the United States. Now, I laugh because I swear to you, it was 2 weeks ago, 99% of the market says I'm wrong. And now the market thinks I'm right. I love it. I'm the 1%. Now, you might say, what an egotistical maniac. Look, I'm just trying to stay confident in a gig that's a very tough gig. So I need to stay confident. So anyways, I don't mean it on an arrogant point, but what I do want to tell myself is, good job balancing the need to stand your ground, but also being willing to be wrong. And I kept looking at the data, and I'm like, I just don't see what the other 99% see. And now things are changing. So anyways, yield's going up because why would you buy a 10-year T-note that pays you 4%, or let's say not long ago, 3.5%? Okay, think about this. A couple of weeks ago, you could buy the 10-year T-note and it'd pay you 3.5%. Is that a good deal? Well, what if you thought it was going to pay you 5% at the end of the year? Well, then you're like, no, I don't want to buy it. So the bond market's falling, yield is rising, and that's because more and more of the market thinks rates are going up and up and up. So yields are tracking rates, and that's good. Okay. Cool. And looks like that is what usually happens anyways. But all right, so that's neat. That's neat. That's neat. That's neat. All right. And that's despite the stock market having the worst day of the year yesterday. People didn't buy bonds. Even though the stock market came down, they didn't buy bonds. Speaking about stocks, let's take a look at the stock market around the world. Okay. We have now tiptoed through the support zone. Well, through the, I should say, the big monthly pivot that we're stuck on. And we're now have entered the long-term buy zone for the Australian stock market. And it doesn't mean people will buy. It just means if people were going to buy, that would have been the right plan. So if this continues lower, 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 and bulls don't buy, then the bulls are dead. Well, you don't know until you test them, right? Okay, you just don't know. So, anyways, boy, oh boy. Okay, that's still risk off. Europe, I believe, had a big day today. And yeah, Euro 50, holy smokes. Big old bounce on the support pivot. But it is a lower low, lower high scenario. So you could guesstimate a trend extension like that. Okay. Nice. So you could say by the end of the week, price could be as low as 41.42, 41.78, right? Or 42. Okay, that's you doing your fancy math and projecting out. So you could say, you can calculate the rise over run. Okay, which gives you what? Slope. Oops, I was going to say greater than. No. Rise over run gives you the slope. Slope is designated with an M. Why? Stop asking so many questions. Okay? And why is that important? Because you're saying, well, if this mean, because we're not interested in the mean and the slope of the mean, okay, the rise over the run. If this continues forever, then that's where the price will be. So, but then how do you get best case, worst case? And that's where your standard deviation is. So you measure this variance to that variance, to this variance, to that variance, to this variance, to that variance, right? And then square root it, and you're going to get, okay, there's your best case for a bear, base case, worst case from the projection if the slope continues. And that's the basic math used for this. Okay, so you gotta calculate the average yield, the slope and the trend of the average yield, the variance above and below the average yield. Okay, and then take a square root of that variance to get standard deviation. And so you can say in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 days, 6 days from now, 7 days from now. Okay, if the slope of the mean continues and the variance stays the same, okay, so base to up to now, that's what would be projected. If nothing changes, of course things change, but that's what the math is trying to do, just so you know. Isn't that lovely? So like this is depicting the average, but we actually don't care about the average. We care about the slope of the mean of the average mean, not the average price. Average price would be irrelevant. Okay? This is being used as like, well, that average price could act as support. Cool. Right on. Mubarak says, Wayne, I just checked the watch tool. About 21% are pricing in 50 basis points in March and May. 3 weeks ago, it was 0. Plus now there's no cuts for the rest of the year. Dude, you've got a crystal ball. Thank you. I don't have a crystal ball, but I work hard. I do the work and I work hard. That's all it is. That's it. That's all it is. I actually do the work. And that's what I teach. I don't like when 99% of the market disagrees with me. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. But it feels better when people start leaning my way. And that I don't know, makes me feel good because I know I've done the work. So all I know is what it says. I don't care what other people think per se, except if the entire market's going against me, that means I sit on the sidelines and I wait. And I don't know if people will ever do the work and agree with me. I would say, and I said it then, if 99% of the market says I'm wrong, dude, I gotta be careful. I might actually be wrong. But then I go back and I look at the data, Mubarak, and I'm like, I listen to what the Fed speakers are saying. I listen to what Jay Powell says. I look at the data. I read the reports. I read the minutes. It doesn't say what the market is doing. Okay? So I'm like, so I sit and I wait. Yeah. So I don't like it when I think the market, like in this case, the S&P 500, I thought would fall all January, and I had to wait. And then, boom, first week of February, now it's falling. Okay. Well, I had to wait a whole month. All right. But I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I'm not trying to be better than the market. I'm just trying to figure out what the market's going to do before it does it. So if it does something different, then uh-oh. Okay. So again, don't try to outsmart the market. Johnny's like, yeah, I said it before. Most of these people were not there before '08. Yeah. Which is odd for me. I'm just learning that I'm not the youngest guy in the room anymore. My career before becoming an independent Forex trader was I was always the youngest guy in the room. And now I look in the mirror and I'm like, who's that old guy? And then I look back and like, who's running Wall Street? And I'm like, this is people's first recessions. I'm like, really? It's strange. Okay. All right. So anywho, so I don't want to be so arrogant still and say that I'm right and they were wrong. All I'm saying to Mubarak is I simply did the work, and it gives me a perspective. And I know what I know because I know it, but there's a difference between the economy and the market. So the economy is the economy. I'm not wrong there. I have the economic data. The economy is the economy, and I know the economy. I know it. It's right. It's perfect. I know exactly what's happening. So now as a trader, I look at the economy and I say, I expect a certain thing to happen in the markets based on what the economic data shows. So that's always 100% right. But the markets can do something different from what the economy suggests. So that's where technical analysis comes in. So if you're a bear and this is going up and up and up, you don't sell it. Okay? Look how wonderful this ended up being. Look at that trade. If you're a bear and this is going up, you don't sell it. Now, the economy might suggest the stock market, in this case, the NASDAQ, the economy might suggest the NASDAQ is overpriced. But what's going on, I believe, in the stock market going up and up and up in January was a fear of missing out. FOMO. It has nothing to do with the economy. It has to do with human emotion. It might have to do with rebalancing of portfolios. It might be a lot of different things. Some of them are good things. Some things are benign things. Some are bad things. It doesn't matter. It's human activity. Right or wrong, pretty or ugly, it doesn't matter. And nor do I care. That's why I use technical analysis to say, okay, something's going on with the human activity in the marketplace. People are doing something. Maybe they had to buy the equity market for a certain reason. Fine. It's okay. There are many market participants. There's more money than you can imagine in the world. And so money's moving around, and lots of people decided they wanted to buy the stock. And why not? The stock market was down 20%. Why not, right? Some of these stocks were down 50%. Great. I bought Chinese ADR stocks at like 60% off, and now they're skyrocketing. Good for me. Okay, so people deployed capital, maybe in an unusual fashion at an unusual time, but last year was very unusual. The circumstances very unusual. So cash was deployed. So, but here's the thing. This is what I keep trying to tell you. There's the economy, and let's say the economy tells me NASDAQ should be falling. Then I open my chart, and the chart says the NASDAQ market, the human activity right now is putting capital into the stock market, into the NASDAQ. So I look at that, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I see that. The market's going up, the economy's going down. So now my job is to wait for the market to adjust. And if the market starts to fall and the economy suggests it should be falling, game on, brother. Get in the game. Okay? This is your AO, your area of opportunity. Okay? So that lower low could be your trigger. Okay? So it's not like outsmarting the market. I would say wait for the market. Pretend, and maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not, but pretend the market is stupid. Let's say it's just slow. You're not outsmarting it. It's just slow because think of it. It's hard to get a cartel to agree. Imagine, can you get 13 people to agree on one thing? No. Well, how about 10 million people? Is it easy to get 10 million people with different objectives and different time horizons and different risk tolerances to all agree on one thing? No. So just pretend it takes a long time. So you look at it and you're like, okay, NASDAQ's going to fall. And NASDAQ's rising. So what do? Sell because you're smarter? No. Let it right itself. Let the market slowly catch up to what you're thinking. And then once you see a majority of the market participants now agree with you, like think of it as a voting mechanism. In January, the majority of market participants, they might have had the same information as you. They might have interpreted the same of you, although very unlikely. They just disagreed with your timing. They're like, not now, bro. Okay, great. So 3, 4, 5 weeks goes by, and all of a sudden you get a technical confirmation that the majority of market participants in NASDAQ now agree with your outlook. Maybe a first opportunity for you to get involved and participate. You see? That's how I'm trying to align your satellites. You just got to wait. It's okay. Okay. Frank says Bank of America expect S&P 500 to fall in March. Okay, so let me comment on that. Let me go back to S&P. Okay, if that's true, now I have analysis here to say it's fallen enough right now. And so that might be it for February. And then maybe in March it does drop again. Okay, I said at the beginning of the year that the fall in the first half of the year is still based on the idea that interest rates are rising. We have not hit a terminal rate. So as long as interest rates are going to go up, the first wave, and listen to that, the first wave of the stock market decline is simply a repricing of assets based on a change in the variable in the pricing model. Okay? Is the stock market is the economy in recession right now? No. So that's not it. So if Bank of America is right and they're like, yeah, the stock market's going to head down in March, okay, they might be right. But why? I'm going to teach you why, everybody. Everything I want you to know is about why things happen. Okay? Buying and selling moving averages is easy if you know why. Okay? So anywho, then that model simply changes. If the market is pricing in higher interest rates, then the value of the stock market comes down. It's only math. Don't even get upset about it. In the second half of the year, and back in January, I did an annual outlook, and I talked about sort of this October period, which is a long ways away from today. We will probably, I would think, be at the terminal rate by then. And the risk is the stock market falls even further, much lower than this number. Like we're on our way down to like 2,500 on the S&P 500. Okay, which would be about a 50% drop from the top. Okay, and why would that occur? Interest rates are not rising anymore. So now why would the stock market fall? Because there is clear evidence that we've now entered into a recession. Or at least there's clear evidence to make people think that we've probably entered into a recession. And we're not even near that yet. Like this drop that we've had already, let me go out to like a daily chart. Okay, this drop that we've had now isn't even the recession. We're still adding jobs. So the ugliness hasn't even started yet. There's no blood in the street. Okay? Cool. Okay? So I don't know the future, but that's a pretty reasonable probability. Okay? And do you guys remember? I talked about this number right here. You see it? Let me delete it. You see this number right here? It's been a month now, or almost a month. It's been about 3 weeks. I said that that could be the high of the year. Does anybody remember that? When we were here? The 2023 high? Oh God. So what's the low? I hope you've taken action to protect your assets. I don't know if I'm right, but if I'm right, you better do something. Do you remember what I did in here? I'm hedged to the downside, but I'm also moved my portfolio so I'm about 15% cash, which is a form of, well, getting out before the drop. Some things I'm going to hold to the end. But what do you do if the rest of the year looks like this? Are you prepared? A, have you protected your retirement account? And B, are you going to make money? Frank says 3,000 the target? No. No. Why 3,000? That sounds like a guess. Look at you guys, maybes. Why don't you just give me a fact? Okay. Between 2,999, you see, Frank? 3,000? What are you talking about, Frank? 3,000? No. 2,999, Frank. Somewhere between 2,999 and 2,720. Probably 2,720. Why? Because of the top. Again, this is not my opinion. This is technical analysis. Okay? This to that. I guess I should do it this way. Okay? That's what it says. So Frank, yearly M1, no. And it's because of the top. If we have another move up, guys, let's say the stock market does this now, and we head up to 43, 43 and a half before a drop, then down to 3,000. But that puts us in a real bind because on the shorter run, we would be in this sort of uptrend. So what I'm relying on here is my price action pivot points are suggesting that this is still sloped. Okay? So imagine you're carrying this forward. See, I'm having trouble doing this. I'm a little off. It'll take most of the year. In fact, what I said back in January, that we'll probably fart around until late in the year, and then it'll be a sharp decline. See, if you had paid the $10, then you know, and it's probably well worth it. I hope it's well worth it. Okay. Am I still going to do a quarterly outlook now? Is that what you guys want me to do? sometime around the end of March, am I going to do a quarterly outlook? Grumpy, I am. I'm short the S&P 500. Okay. I'm actually, right then, I'm extremely busy, but I will make the time. Okay. Gold, yeah, Harsh, we have it right here. So, okay, not a lot going on if I zip in here. Okay, I think we can call that a bottom. I think we can call, what do you want to call that, a top? Nothing going on right now. Yeah, I'm really busy sort of out in that time frame. There's, I might have 2 different European trips I have to do quickly. Or not so quickly. I guess, well, the other one's in late May. So actually that's not a problem. All right, so maybe but yeah, I do have right at the end of March, so I'll work it in. I'll work it in. I'll work it in, man. All right, my oh my WTI. Remember, I'm a bear. It is bouncing off support. I can see that. Do we get EIA today, or is that kicked out till tomorrow? I think API is today and EIA is tomorrow, right? Okay, so we're closer to support. So the only sell you would have today would be 4-hour 5, 4-hour 21. But we are on support, so it's a little dangerous. But remember, I'm a bear based on supply. Also, if we have a day where the stock market comes down, then that's demand destruction. Both those things would likely to bring oil down. But what I would expect is, yeah, maybe the 5 pushes it down, but I think we already played that out. So I think this either moves sideways today or moves up to the 21, and maybe tomorrow's the down day. That's what I thought, Lucas. Thank you for verifying that. Thank you. Okay, if the stock market comes down today, you probably have an opportunity to sell your Bitcoin. Okay. So up into the moving averages and down is kind of what it looks like. Okay. So what do you think? 24.5 down to 23.5? Richard, yeah, I don't think that's what really matters, but yeah, okay. That's very news-driven stuff. I don't think that is really that. But anyhow. So yesterday, we were talking about nat gas going up. And it's interesting. We got a big green candle. So we were talking about this yesterday on the red candle. We had just dropped to $2 in the day trading group, and we were talking, the only thing we talked about is buying it. And necessarily just, I don't know, it's a psych level. Like, why do you buy a drop? And we talked about two things. We talked about an arbitrage trade that I set up in July. But think about this, guys. I set it up in July. I'm not even joking. In the oil trading course, I spent 20 minutes maybe discussing exactly the arbitrage trade. And the key to the arbitrage, the catalyst, if you will, occurred on this candle last night. We talked about it in July, and it happened last night. That's the first one. The other thing is, Kishore has got a good little carry on this. And any black swan event would then also give him asset appreciation. So he owns an asset. He owns some natural gas. Somewhere in the world, Kishore has some natural gas. Stuff somewhere. Okay? Cool. So, yeah. So, cool. And now Johnny's got an option on this. Now, he doesn't get the carry, but he gets the asset appreciation. But nonetheless, the only thing we've been talking about is up. But we couldn't really set up the up until last night. And this is what we did at the day trading group last night. We talked about it at the very beginning of the meeting, and we talked about it at the very end of the meeting. And the only thing we talked about is why it would go up. Cool. Richard's like, what about German nat gas, blah, 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 blah. Take the oil trading course. I've already addressed all of this till I'm blue in the face. Take the oil trading course. Yesterday. Cool. So it's nice to see a green candle. There hasn't been very many bullish engulfing green candles in a while, huh? I mean, dude. So guys, I think the oil trading course is about 16 hours long. It's no joke. I mean, it is no joke. If you take notes, you will probably fill a notebook. I'm not even kidding. And you will know a lot more about the energy complex, the global energy complex, than you could even possibly imagine. And so questions like, well, what if Russia does this? And what if this happens? And what if... You just take the course. Okay? Because they're good questions, but it's hard to answer if you don't know the market. Like, I can give you an answer but you might not understand precisely what I'm saying if you don't, like, we gotta, before you take calculus, you gotta take algebra, There's no way around that. So anyways, cool. Now, I hope that, by the way, makes new members here of our community on YouTube excited, like, that's included with the $88. Like, you could just sit there, and the cost to you is probably, I mean, how many videos are there? There's so many. So to become an expert in oil, if you took all the videos, it's $1 an hour. So it'll cost you $16 to become very knowledgeable about the oil industry. about drilling, about processing, about fracking, about refining, about the history, about the transportation, about the retail. Huh? Just amazing, right? Right on, Darko. Yes, it is cash. It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, join. But anywho, let us go open, open. Let's take a look at some exotics. Look at Natty go, man. Look at it go. Oh my God, it's so awesome. Johnny's killing it. All right, peso. Peso's doing well. So a nice day for peso. That makes it look like it's a risk on day. And I know half of you are risk off. And there's the entry, just so you see it. So short about 1875. We're back down to 1840. Okay. And this Euro ZAR, this is a weekly chart. And now we've spent 2 weeks at this first level of resistance that I've highlighted here. I think the next level is probably that one. But we certainly have hung up here. Isn't that cool? Now you're like, why is that cool? Well, 5 weeks ago, actually longer than that, 6 or 7 weeks ago, we drew that line. If we get to that line, which will probably happen, it will restrict price action. Okay. Mubarak says, is the live community event to hold today? What, the day trading? Yeah, if you join the day trading group, you can join the day trading event. Yes. Okay. Cool. The next line in the sand that we knew 7 weeks ago is this one. Let's just call it 20. And that'll be interesting. Is that going to be the top? I don't know. So we have to have a confluence of, like, are economic conditions going to change or not? See, I expect the ECB to just continue jacking up interest rates much higher than people think. And I think South Africa is probably in a world hurt. So normally I would expect this to roll over up there. If we were doing this with technical analysis, I'd say there, and the next one is 21. So somewhere between 20 and 21, I would say a technical chart would say, yeah, get ready to sell. Fundamentally, that makes no sense right now. But wouldn't it be interesting that things change by the end of the year where global economic conditions contract, inflation comes down, but the globe doesn't go into a recession, and maybe next year is a very hopeful year and that brings some hope for the rand? Well, that could be interesting. So technically it says it's going to go, actually, if I really were just pure technicals here, this does say 21, actually 20.7366, and then down. What these technicals say is we're going to hit 20.7366 early in the year. So let's pick out the halfway point. So let's say this is June. Okay? Before June. That could be like April. Let's call this April. By June, this chart says we hit this number right around here. And then by the end of the year, we end up here. That's what the chart says. But then I got to think about the reality. What would make Rand awesome? What would make Euro weak? So maybe we get there and Europe hits a terminal rate early. They jack interest rates all the way up to 2.5% and stop something, And then the whole world is incredibly overwhelmed with that. Now that benefits South Africa because I'm sure they have a lot of debt priced in euro. And if that's as high as it goes and then starts falling again, then the yield or the interest rate on the loans is tolerable. And the world was worried that it could be a lot worse. And that really benefits South Africa as they acquire and roll over old debt for new debt. So yes, they have to roll it over at a higher rate, but it could have been a lot higher. And so that's really good news. And fear goes away. And all of a sudden this is risk on. And that'd be interesting. Do you guys get the same thing when you look at this chart? That's what this chart says to me. It tells me the price, the time, and the outcome. So, but then you have to take it forward and say, well, if that's true, what are the variables that would lead to it? So then you have to go find the narrative. Okay? Yeah, that's right, Darko. So, and look at the velocity, Darko, huh? Incredible that we went from 15.5 to 21 very quickly. Oh, God, that would have been horrible for South Africa. Okay? And then it improved, and then it didn't improve, and now it improves again, but Darko says, yeah, so they don't have good economics, but there's that's part of it, but remember, it's capital flow that we really care about. It's not like we look at economy A versus economy B purely. It's part of it, but not all of it. So we don't say A is better than B, so invest into A. But if an economy A is doing good and it makes capital flow from A to B because it's good, then you're like, oh my God, look at economy A, it's doing fantastic. Buy economy B, sell economy A. Right? And it's because of the flow of capital. So like, for example, the United States, very big, powerful economy. It's also a reserve currency. So when you say, oh, USA good, what do? Sell USA. A classic example. It's doing good, sell it. Okay? So, how about another one? China is doing good. What do? Sell it. So China doing good? United States doing good? What do? Okay? How about Australia? So let's talk about that. If the United States is doing good and China is doing good, and you're selling US dollar and you're signing, well, you can't really, but Chinese renminbi, what do you do with the Aussie dollar? Buy it or sell it? We don't even know what's going on in the Australian economy. We just know it's there. All we know is China's expanding, USA is expanding. USA good, China good. What do we do with Oz? Okay, so we buy this one. And I don't even know what's going on in Australia. So then you would at least go into the Aussie dollar and maybe the Aussie economy and say, look, I'm interested in buying Aussie dollar. So now let's take a look. And now you do your due diligence on whether you should be deploying capital to Australia or not. Okay. There might be reasons where normally you would think you would buy it, but it's collapsing. They're cutting interest rates. They have negative inflation, negative GDP. So that might be on the short run a terrible idea, but on the long run, this evidence might point to a recovery. So maybe it still is a good idea. But the thing is, USA good, sell it. China good, sell it. And maybe even Australia bad, great, buy it. So it's not only because of the capital flow, but usually even if Australia was doing bad, because this other stuff is doing good, it would probably turn around and you'd probably benefit from that. But you would have to use some technicals to confirm and get into those, okay? So anyways, neat, right? Okay. Cool. Metals, anything going on here? Not really. So the gold play is doing okay. As we can see, this is the same thing we just looked at, but on a different type of chart, on a different type of time frame. So still below the 2155, still a bear, and I'm going to let gold run. If you're trying to figure it out, okay. Okay, look at this. There's my target. See it? Oh, God. Okay. So the other thing, right, we talked about when gold, so I'll reiterate. Several weeks ago, we talked about gold having a yearly high. Oops. The high of the year being $1,947. And if that's true, so let's just call it 1950, okay? 1950, we talked a few weeks ago, could be the high of the year if the Fed continues raising interest rates and if the Fed does not cut. Then that would be disinflationary. That would lead gold to fall. That would make 1950 the top. And if that's the case, it's going to fall all the way down to 1500. Now, obviously, I got more specific numbers than that, but let's just call it, okay? 1950. Okay. And you're like, dude, that's a $450 drop. Yeah, well, for the year. If the year ends up being disinflationary. Oh, you guys better watch out. I'm loading the guns. Last year, I lost about 40 pounds. This year, I'm going to add weight, but I'm lifting weights. Can you believe it? Lifting weights. So I'm loading the guns again. You better watch out. I went from size 34 pants that were hard to... I remember I was visiting New York, and I had a brand new Ralph Lauren suit, and I had to get a fat suit. It was 34, and I could barely get the button. I'm like, shut on the 34 pants. I'm like, dude, I just bought these. I'm like, and they don't even fit. I need 35? I'm like, oh my God. So now I wear 31s and they're loose. I'm like, if I go to 30, that's like 8th grade. Anyway, so now I got to add some weight. I'm going to load the guns, man. You better watch out. Huh? Better watch out. Loading the guns. Here's a palladium trade. Not as good as gold. I'm learning that there's similarities but differences to these metals. I'm just lifting dumbbells, Richard. So I'm doing three times a day doing reps. So the best that I like to do is just I don't have much time, so I'll just kind of eat some soup. I spend about 8 minutes eating lunch. 3 of them is cooking in the microwave. So I eat soup for breakfast. I do eat soup for breakfast, but then if I'm having lunch, I'll eat soup for lunch. So there's 8 minutes. And then I'll just walk over to the gym in the guest wing or whatever. And I just go 10s, 15s, 20s, 15s, and then 10s. Curls, right? Curls, curls, curls. And then later on in the day, I'll eat some more soup and I'll walk down there. 10s, 15s, 20s, 10s, 15s. I even have some 25s if I need to really push it. And you just do that like 3 times a day. Yeah, it's a good start. For someone that doesn't exercise, that's a good start. And I imagine I'll go more like 25s, 20s, and 15s, in a couple of months. And that should be enough for the guns, right? Get some biceps, get some forearms. Then I want to probably work shoulders and chest a little bit. And that should be enough. Oh, I don't know in kgs. I only know pounds. I walk in the morning. Yeah, I walk in the morning. I meditate every morning without fail. I do get a walk. So now I'm adding some weights. Yeah. So, anywho. Cool. I'll probably start doing like stomach exercises too, so it'd be interesting. So I get the guns, get the arms. Then I need to do some sort of like push-ups, I guess, for the chest. Get a little routine in there. And then get a stomach routine. So I kind of like stretch, then do stomach, and then maybe do chest, and then do the arms and the shoulders. And I think that's pretty good. Hey man, I haven't exercised in decades, so it's a start. It came from the conversation we did in January. You have to understand, every day in January, I met with the day trading group, and every day the stock market would go up, and every day everybody knew I was a bear. So every day I would do the analysis, but then I'd do a little talk to them, but to me, about patience, about discipline, about what to do when the market's not doing what you think you to do. And it's like, how do you handle it psychologically? So we talked about this every day for about 4 or 5 weeks, where like I almost had an opportunity to trade, but then it went higher. And I almost had an opportunity to sell, but then it went higher. And I did a lot of things about like focusing on the work and doubling down on your analysis, not doubling down on your trades. If you're taking some losses, again, the worst thing would be like revenge trading. So you don't double down on your trading, you're double down on your analysis. And you be open-minded to be wrong. Don't be stubborn, but go back and do the work. And like, are you sure? Why is your bias your bias? Like, go back. And if you see the same thing, you're like, yeah, I'm a bear. Okay. But it's going up. So you wait and you wait and wait. And we talked about integrity, right? And I called it your integrity account, like a bank account. And in those situations where you're unsure about yourself, you add integrity to your personal integrity account. And you do it any way you can. Part of it is going back, like I said, and redoing all your work fundamentally. And you start looking at all the data and you're like, I'm still a bear, but it's going up. And you're losing confidence, but okay, but it is going up and you've redone the work, but it should be going down in your opinion. So like after a while you get FOMO, right? Now, how do you deal with that? When the market's going up, every day for 5 weeks it's going up and I'm like, I'm still a bear. So how do you handle that? How do you not get FOMO? And so I'm like, you do the work and then you find out you still think you're right, but you're still wrong because the market's going up. So why don't you get FOMO? And I said, well, find any way you can to make deposits into your personal integrity account so that you have the strength to be wrong and wait. And I said, one way to do it is do anything that you don't like doing, but you know is good. And I said, it could be wake up earlier. You know, it could be that simple. You're like, I don't like to wake up early. Well, okay, great. Wake up early every day for a month or maybe 3 months or maybe forever. And just prove to yourself you can do anything because you're a tough son of a bitch. That's what I'm talking about. And so anyway, so I gave that speech and then I ordered weights. So last year, I decided to lose 40 pounds. Hey man, that ain't easy. Cool, done. This year, I don't like lifting weights. I haven't exercised in 25 years. I don't go to a gym. All right, well, I went through 5 weeks of making deposits in my personal integrity account. And I do that to maintain my strength as a currency trader, even though it has nothing to do with that. And I'm like, and it could be anything as long as it's difficult. You see? And so, well, I actually did that. There you go. Cool, right? And now the market's going what I would say is, quote unquote, the correct way. Sweet. Great. Well played. Stoicism at its finest. Yes, and studying Stoicism was something that I added to that too. So, book number 2 in the Harvard shelf is Plato, and then Marcus Aurelius. And so Plato was one of the first Stoics. And then I think Seneca worked for Plato, didn't he? Am I getting that out of order? Maybe it went Plato, Socrates, Seneca, Aurelius. Epictetus is in there somewhere, I think. So, yeah. And pray never hurts, sure. Although a Stoic would say, okay, go ahead and pray. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm not a religious person, so I might equate praying with dreaming, and the Stoics hated dreamers. So I don't know where praying comes in, because it's not necessarily what I do. And so maybe I could try to categorize it. Is it a meditation? Maybe for some. Is it a dream? Maybe for some. But you're like, no, Wayne, I'm actually talking to God and I'm changing the fabric of the universe. Oh, okay. Well, great. Good. But the thing is, what a Stoic would say is, all that is fine and dandy. It might be hurtful. It might be fine. But what a Stoic cares about is, what did you do today to accomplish the goal? They don't care that you want to be rich and powerful one day. They're like, Well, who doesn't? There's plenty of people that want to be rich and powerful. Some don't. So it's irrelevant. It's like, okay, you want to be rich and powerful. Great. So what the heck are you doing about it today? What are you doing today? Okay. Richard says, God gives me strength to do things all. Then it's good. The point, Richard, is if it makes you feel good, that's one thing. If it gives you the strength to do things, it's the doing. If God helps you do, okay, it's the doing. So a Stoic would say, okay, what's the goal? Great. Now you defined it. What are you doing to accomplish that? What is the strategy? What is the tactic? And what are you actually doing? Okay? So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got a family, you got a spouse, you got kids, you got a job, you're learning Forex, you're volunteering at Scouts or something, and you got this huge, complicated life. And now for you to lose weight and gain strength, you have to work out, but you don't have time to work out. So for you to do that, you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, great. You've identified it. So what a Stoic would say is, all right, how many mornings did you wake up at 4 a.m. this week to work out? And you're like, well, I did this, and I wanted to, and it was difficult here, but I did. And all of a sudden they're like, pfft. Because like when Marcus Aurelius woke up in the morning, he wrote out his strategy and tactics for the day. He had to conquer like a Germanic tribe that had an army 4 times larger than his. So he either accomplished his goals or died a horrible death. Oh, I wanted to beat the Germanic tribes, but I was tired. Okay? So anyway, so for him, he would write about it before and after, and that's what and so the Stoics were very against the dreamers, like, oh, we dream of conquering the Germanic tribes. Okay? Okay? We dream of building a city in Francia. What was the name of the French before even Francia? What were they called? I'm losing it here. What were they called? But anyways, they had to conquer them first. Not the Franks. Before the Franks. I can't think of it. But anyways, the Romans had to conquer the entire world. And yeah, you could dream about it. Maybe there's an emperor, right, sitting in Rome dreaming about it, but somebody had to put the sword in the belly. Someone had to kick down a door and bloody some swords. It had to get done. Okay. The Visigoths? That doesn't sound right. No. Anyways, it doesn't matter, I suppose. The Gauls. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So you can dream about conquering the Gauls, finding the rivers, right? The River Seine, and building a little outpost. Okay. So yeah. So praying, praying's good. Meditation is good. They might be one and the same for you. They might be radically different. It Okay. But make sure all of like meditation sets you at peace, but peace doesn't buy you success. I guess that's what Marcus Aurelius would have been saying 2,000 years ago when he wrote in his journal that it's the doing. You have to pick your battles in the sense that you have to be unbalanced. I think if you're trying to find peace, I'm going to have this wonderful balanced life, and yet I'm going to drive a Lamborghini. That's not how that works. Okay? If you want a balanced life, join a community where you grow tomatoes, and at the end of the year, you're making wonderful tomato sandwiches, and you're like, these tomatoes are so much better than the grocery store. I love it. It brings me so much happiness. Okay, gardening is very peaceful, very meditative. It's a mantra meditation. It gives you good food. It brings you happiness. You're outside. You're surrounding yourself with fresh growing plants. You're probably getting lots of oxygen. Great. You want to drive a Lamborghini or live in a big house or have a fancy watch? You have to be unbalanced. Right? You got to be unbalanced. So you got to pick those battles, and you got to be very clear because you don't want to live unbalanced all day, every day. So you're like, as a Forex trader, I have ridiculous, sickening worth ethic, right? Ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You are crazy unbalanced when it comes to Forex. You're nuts. You're a monster. But then when you walk outside your home office door, you're at peace again. You switch gears. You walk out, you're a loving, caring person. When you walk into your office, you're a monster. And that's that. So everything outside your home office door is your temple. But out here, you're a monster. You're a beast. You're so focused. You're so driven that you frighten people. You frighten yourself. You're pushing yourself to unbelievable levels of focus and knowledge that you couldn't have even imagined 5 years ago. It's truly, totally insanity. And then you walk through your doors and you're a loving, caring, warm person again. And that's how I look at it. So if waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning is unbelievably difficult for you, you can't even imagine. Or maybe it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, whatever. You got your own life, your own personality. But you do something incredibly hard that has positive benefits. Like, so you wake up early and you work out. Which I would hate. That sounds horrible to me. But if I did it, I'm proving myself I can do anything, even if I hate it. I have the personal integrity and strength and discipline to do anything. So that inevitably, as a Forex trader, when I go through a bad period, or my bias says one thing and the market disagrees and does the other, I have the strength to not get caught up and have things like fear of missing out. Fear of missing out? I'm a monster. I'm a beast. I can do anything I set my mind to. There's no way that happens to me. And you can reinforce it not in your intellect, but in your deep psyche, in your brain stem, right? Your dinosaur lizard brain says, you are a tough son of a bitch. You can do anything. That's how you do it. And that's why you have to be in beast mode as a trader and then go be loving. But you got to have that integrity. I'm telling you, when you get put to the test, when you're losing money or the market's going up for 5 weeks and you're a bear, okay, that's when you're tested psychologically. And I would say 95% of the market folds. They're weak. They want to be strong. They dream about being strong. They talk a strong game, and then they fold. That's why it's important to be able to prove to yourself. Okay? So another example I often give is that program they started at Harvard. I was in the first group, cohort 1. Okay? It was difficult to get in. 99%, in fact, it was more than 99% of people that applied were rejected. And the amount you had to do to even apply was ridiculous. You had to have spouses write letters, you had to have bosses write letters, you had to take examinations and, and all this kind of stuff. Like it was your application process, you had to do interviews. Like, dude, it was nuts. But then I got into the program, and by year 3, they canceled the program. In year 2, they tweaked it to make it easier. By year 3, they basically canceled it, and there was nothing similar from year 1. By the time they continued the program in year 4 and year 5, it's nothing like the first one. And so they canceled our program because it was too difficult. Okay? And of the 20 people that got through the application process, remember, only 20 got through. Thousands applied. Of the 20 that got through, 9 made it through. 11 flunked out or dropped out. So now only 9 made it through. And of the 9, I think about 3, maybe 4 had A's. And I can tell you, it was hard. It cost me a lot of money. It took me years. It was a 4-year program. I had to live on campus in the summers, leaving my wife and children. It was hard on everybody. Lots of stress. Can you imagine that stress? Here's what I'm getting to. Having completed it as an A student in a program canceled because it was impossible, and some of it was impossible. I'm telling you, some of this work was impossible. I did it anyways. Okay? And at the end of it, do you know what it proved to me? Psychologically, I might have known it before, and maybe I've had other tough things in life that proved it to me, because maybe that's why I put myself in a situation like even doing the program or even applying for the program. Maybe I had already proved it to myself, but yet again, doing something for 4 years that's impossibly difficult, in the back of my brain, in the deepest part of my heart, in my stomach, in my soul, I'm a tough son of a bitch and I can do anything. That carries on to your trading. And I think you can get that through many other means than signing up for 4 years of pain and suffering and financial and social sacrifice. It was hard. I lost friendships. It was hard on my kids and my wife and all these things. We didn't go on family vacations with our friends, right? Our friends are like, you need to come on a cruise with us. Our friends are like, you got to come to our place in Mexico. And I'm like, no, Wayne's got school. 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 Years and years and years and years and years. So when I'm off, while I'm waiting for the market for 4 or 5 weeks, what do? I go back, double check my work. Double check my work, double check. Do the fundamentals, do the fundamentals, do the fundamentals, do the fundamentals. Okay, yep. I still agree, I still agree, I still agree, I still agree. Good. So I wait, and 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 I wait. Cool. Why? Because I know I can. And let me tell you, If you're not understanding the speech, if it's coming across arrogant and stuff, it's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is waiting and waiting and waiting takes a lot of effort. Psychologically, it's very difficult. Being disciplined as a Forex trader is very, very difficult. You can learn technical analysis, not a problem. You can learn fundamental analysis, not a problem. I can give you tools that do it for you, still not a problem. So what's the difficult? It's that stuff that is for many the biggest challenge. Because you haven't been taught or been put into an environment where you can learn. Maybe it's new, but I can tell you at some point that might be, I don't know, but that might be the key difference. And luckily it can be taught. It can be learned. But like I said, to me, it's like making these deposits into an integrity account. Do you have that strength? And you probably do, but you haven't learned how to apply it as a trader. So, once again, as the leader of the day trading group, meeting with my paid members every single day, having to explain, how do I stay strong? How do I stay focused? How do I prevent the fear of missing out? How do I stay disciplined and focused and emotionally strong? And I hope after 5 weeks of that those members saw it, felt it. It was something else to see me squirming like, oh my God, another update. Let's go back through the work. Okay. And I think, honestly, that was probably one of the best lessons any trader could have ever gotten. And I'm grateful that we went through that. But it was tough. Let's wrap up for the day. Just kind of doing some markings. Okay, just do the work. This is what we do. Do the work. Do the work. Okay, so we had that big news yesterday. What was it? PMIs or whatever. And I don't know if I'm a believer in that or not, but it happened. It's news, but is it fundamentals? I don't know. I could pull it up on QuantBox and stuff, but what this chart says is mediocrity. In fact, I could even kill my 2155 now. That this sucker is range bound. Denise, yeah, getting ready to get ready. Yeah, I suppose that's the what the Stoics were complaining about when it came to with dreamers. I was at Georgia Tech. You guys know what's the Georgia Institute of Technology? I think it's the second best engineering school in the world behind MIT. And I was doing a speech there in front of a few hundred students. And I said, how many people here want to change the world? How many people here want to do this? How many people want to do that? How many people, and I had people like raising their hands. I'm like, so when is that going to happen? What, right? And people are like, well, I'm still in university. I'm still learning this. I'm still learning that. I'm too young. I don't have money. The typical stuff, right? And I said, okay, good. So let's just run through this. You're studying engineering at Georgia Tech, and then you're going to get a good job, and then you're going to meet a wonderful person, and then you're going to start a family, and then you're going to be 40 years old. At like, when does it get easy? When is it going to be a convenient time for you to be great? I said greatness is incredibly inconvenient. Now, I remember a second part to this. I was wearing a baseball uniform. So I forgot that part. I said, so is anybody interested in why I'm dressed up like a coach for a baseball team? And they all kind of laugh. I'm like, yeah, I figured that was an elephant in the room. I said, well, I'm a coach for a little league team. We have a game in about 2 hours. So I was asked if I could come to Georgia Tech and meet with you. And I said it would be an honor and a pleasure. But what I didn't say is, well, I'm going to have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do all the stuff I needed to do anyways. And then I got to drive all the way to Georgia Tech and park, and I got to eat somewhere along the line and all that kind of stuff. And then I can meet here and, talk with you guys. But then for me to get back in time to do my other responsibilities, which is being a leader to young children, to 8-year-olds, I don't have time to change. So I'm going to have to wake up 2 hours early, do all the other stuff, put on my baseball uniform, drive to Georgia Tech, meet with you, and then drive and do that. And it's a wonderful day. I'm so happy and passionate to have the opportunity to meet with, 8-year-olds and 20-year-olds. What a lucky person am I? But it's so unbelievably inconvenient. And it took a lot of sacrifice. Getting up early, running around, moving things over, canceling other things. I'm going to be exhausted at the end of the day, but smiling ear to ear. So I say, here's my point. I know everybody in the room can be great and wants to be great and plans on being great. But you can't wait. Greatness is always inconvenient. You just need to do it anyways. You need to start yesterday. You need to do something now. It will not get easier when you're married with kids and have a career. It certainly won't be easier then. And you're like, but I'm a full-time student at MIT. Well, this is actually the easiest time in your life. All right. And that's, so Denise's point, I'm just getting ready to get ready. I'm getting ready. I will be great tomorrow, but not today. I'm like, no, you won't. It's today. And that's what Marcus Aurelius was going to say. What are you going to do today to be great? Show me okay, you start with the goal. That's the dream. Then you do the strategy. That's getting ready. And then show me the tactics. That's what you're actually doing. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow should have continuity if there's strategy to it. Your trading should have continuity to it. I'm like, oh, you've been buying dollar on and off all year. Why is that? You're like, well, I believe the U.S. stock market's going to come down as the U.S. economy slips into recession by the end of the second half. Therefore, I'm buying dollar. Oh, well, that makes sense to me. Good job. Versus just randomness, you see? So that's the message of the day, is like, how do you not hit FOMO? How do you not get fear of missing out? You just don't. It's not you. You might not be better, but you're better prepared. And I think that's key. Especially if you're going to go do this for 20 or 30 years, how often do you think your analysis and the market do not jive? Oh my God, a lot. So how do you not get caught up and chase the market? Okay, boom. Trucking Mogul says his cousin received a PhD from Georgia Tech. Very, 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 very good school. Okay, so at a different at a different time at Georgia Tech, I was on a board, and after a board meeting, I met with some of the young students that are going to Georgia Tech. Right, so it must have been a second quarter meeting because we're coming up to the summer. So I remember after the meeting, I'm hanging out with some of the kids, and I said, "So what are you doing this summer?" And the first kid said to me, "Oh, he's going to China, and they're building a bridge." It's an engineer at Georgia Tech, but he's only like 20. He's only in his like second or third year at Georgia Tech. I'm like, "So what are you doing all summer?" "Oh, I'm flying to China and working on a project, like we're building a giant bridge in some province somewhere." I'm like, oh my God, what an amazing experience. Can you imagine? You're building a bridge in China and you're 20 and you're an engineer. You're studying to be an engineer. And that's what you're doing on your free time. I'm like, what an amazing opportunity. I wish I went to Georgia Tech, right? And then what? I met the other kid. I'm like, "So what are you doing this summer?" And he said, "I'm going to New York." I'm like, "Oh, what are you building a bridge?" And he's like, "No, I'm working at Goldman Sachs." I'm like, "What? What are you doing at Goldman Sachs?" Because again, he's an engineer from Georgia Tech. He said, "Well, I'm going to live there all summer. Everything's paid for. They're paying me a salary. My apartment's paid for. Just everything's taken care of. And they're taking us through all their departments, showing us how they make money." Dude, and I'm a Forex trader. I almost fainted. Like, I want to do that. I'm like, what? I want to do that. And he's 20. And I said, "So what do they hire?" I'm like, "Do you know anything about finance or the markets, or do you trade?" Like, and he's like, "No." I'm like, "So why'd they hire you?" They're like, they want to attract smart people. I'm like, touche. Kid was smart. And that's what he did over the summer. And this is undergrad stuff, right? Trucking Mogul. So your cousin got a PhD. Oh, the opportunities afforded to that person. Oh my goodness. So I'm like, what a school. So again, if I could, meet with a couple of hundred of those kids, and I'm like, do something now. Be amazing today. Okay? And it's the same message to us as currency traders. Don't just show up every day and trade. You're not going to be a better trader. What are you doing right now to become a better trader? If you read my book, you know you're supposed to create 1 or 2 bullet points every week written down on a piece of paper with a felt tip marker, a stinky one. I'm very clear on how to do this. And you write down 1 or 2 bullet points of things you are actively trying to improve on this week. And you stick it to the wall or your monitor in front of you, and it's right there. Every time you sit down at your desk, it hits you like a slap in the face. You are specifically working on learning how and when to move your stop loss. Oh, Wayne, I just want to make a bunch of money. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're like, but that's hard and that takes time and I have to measure and test and reflect and adjust and measure and test. Yeah. Let me tell you, everybody, trading Forex successfully is hard. Okay? It's difficult. Okay? And statistically speaking, somewhere between 5 and 8% of you will be able to do it. Now, I'm hoping if I share the right information, the right knowledge, and right motivation, at least I can tell you what to focus on and what to not focus on. Because I know if someone had told me in my early days, it would have been so much better. Because I didn't know anything about anything. It was so difficult. So if someone had just showed me, I'm like, oh, that's all I needed, man. I see it now. Awesome. I got it. I'm that kind of guy. Just show me and I got it. Okay. So when I draw things like this, where I'm like, this is probably going to be support, and then this is support, and then I think we're going to have this, and we're going to come up to this price, I'm hoping that that's helpful, that now you've seen it, this market go this way, the market go sideways, and market break out, and now we're going this way, and I've drawn it. Look, I drew it. I drew it. I actually literally just drew it. And maybe that pushes you in the right direction. You're like, ooh, breakout, pullback, gone, long and gone. You're like, maybe it starts clicking. Okay? Maybe it starts clicking. Okay? I'm not trying to put you into trades. I'm not trying to trade for you. If you want me to trade for you, give me $5 million and we can talk. Okay? If you don't have $5 million, there's not enough money into it, in it for me. So no. Okay? So I might as well just show you the techniques. And you do it yourself. Okay? Okay? Telling you, if you got 5 million, send me an email, wayne@fxbootcamp.com. I can introduce you to an SEC, NFA regulated fund that uses Forex in a way different way than you and I use it. Right? Way different. You'd be shocked. But the way banks use the Forex, not as trading, but use the Forex with their clients, they have to create structured contracts. So imagine now you're trading Forex through structured contracts negotiated directly with banks that produces 21% a year. Almost like printing money. But if you don't have 5M, you just don't have enough. But if you have 5M or more, I can make some calls for you. And you get access to Forex. But I think what you're going to do is most of us don't have 5 million in cash. So instead, you're going to have to look for double tops, lower lows, lower highs, and be able to trade this way. And you're like, but Wayne, what's going on here? Well, you had to know that there was a reasonable possibility by fundamental analysis of macroeconomic data that this should roll over, and that you can spot the double top. Well, first, you can anticipate the double top, you can spot the double top, and you can trade the double top. There you go. That's it. It's that easy. But we know it's not that easy. And I think it's not the technical analysis. It's not the fundamental analysis. I can automate the fundamentals for you. It's still a challenge. What's the challenge? The things your mama tried to teach you. Patience, discipline, and even sort of like confidence and gratitude. There's something in there that's also required. In my early days, I was never happy. And it started to weigh on me. So there's also this level of confidence and gratitude in there. That's also important. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. And that's what I've been trying to teach, especially over the last 5 weeks with my day trading group specifically, because I meet with them so often, is how to maintain confidence in periods of strife, let's say, or challenge. In periods of challenge, how do you maintain ego without being egotistical? And you're like, Wayne, that doesn't make sense. Okay. How do you stay confident but not arrogant? Okay. A confident person has been proven time and time again, and they have a certain belief system because they've been tested. And then there's arrogance where you feel like you're good enough and you're smart enough and gosh darn it, people like you. So you should be successful. You're gonna be successful. You're not right now, but you're gonna be right. Why? I don't know. And you have this confidence detached from reality. And you know an arrogant person, right? You're like, that guy's an idiot. Why is he so confident? And then you have met confident people that you probably look up to and say, that person's a leader. That person I want to have my back. If I ever get in trouble, I know I can count on that person to carry us through. And there's sort of like, you're confident in their confidence because it's been earned. They earned your respect, but they earned their self-respect. You see? And that's what I'm trying to teach. How do you have self-respect so that you have a confidence, which is part of your ego, not your alter ego, but your ego, which is a good thing. So in times of strife, you know you can carry yourself through, but not through dreaming, but through actions. And that's your stoicism. Too much today? I know. I apologize. Too much. I know. Sorry. I think we got some technicals in there. But a lot of those topics are going to go in the third book, which is going to be written second. Okay? I'm writing 3 books. What we talked about today is the third book that's next. So I started writing the second book. Then I'm going to write the third book. And then I'm going to write the first book. I think. Weird, right? Well, life's complicated. Life's complicated. And I think I have a new strategy. I think maybe the summer of 2024, I'm going to lock myself in a small country house in the middle of Cuba for a month. Just write the whole book in 1 month in Cuba. Not in Havana. I'll just live in some little town. And you're like, why would you do it in Cuba? You can move and spend, I'm not even joking, if you lived in a little town or out in the country and you got yourself a nice little house, and you can just, someone brings you some food and some cigars and some coffee, and I bet you could live on $250 for the month. For the month! You're like, oh my goodness, right? You're like, no way. What a good place to go right, huh? Next door to Hemingway's house. One day they'll have a museum, right? This is where Jean Guy used to write when he'd come to Cuba and write books about trading Forex. There's a little Jean Guy museum, the JGB house. This is where Jean Guy would eat lunch. This is where Jean Guy would have his laundry done. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So anyways, guys, love life, live large, but be in charge, huh? Because you got to take care of you. You got to take care of your loved ones. It's all up to you. It's you against the world. That's that. So good luck, man. I'm with you. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average.